The house smelled like cinnamon and hot chocolate, the kind of warm that's supposed to mean welcome. Stockings were already lined up along the mantel, names stitched in red thread I recognized from childhood. I noticed, even before coats came off, that there wasn't one with my daughter's name. I told myself it was an oversight. Holidays are full of them. The kids tore into wrapping paper while adults hovered with phones and refills. My daughter sat cross-legged on the rug, hands folded, watching. She waited longer than the others, glancing from pile to pile, then back to the tree. She didn't interrupt. She just leaned closer to me and whispered, "Did Santa forget?" Before I could answer, my mom did. "Santa doesn't bring gifts for guests," she said lightly, like she was explaining house rules to a neighbor's kid. "Only for family." My sister's kids laughed. Not cruelly, worse, casually, as if the joke had already been agreed upon. My daughter's face didn't crumple. It went still. She nodded once, absorbing the information the way kids do when they think it's about them. When they assume the rule makes sense and they're the variable that doesn't fit. I felt heat rise, then settle. I didn't argue. I didn't correct the word guest or ask who had decided that. I leaned down, kissed her forehead, and said, "Let's go get our coats." There was a murmur behind us. Confusion, maybe annoyance, but no one stopped us. No one said, "Wait." No one said, "We can fix this." Outside, the cold felt sharp and clean. In the car, she buckled herself in and stared straight ahead. Halfway home, she asked, "Are we guests?" "Not where it matters," I said. She thought about that, then asked if we could get pancakes for dinner. I said yes. We ate them at the counter, still in our sweaters. She laughed when syrup got on my sleeve. The day recalibrated itself. After she went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open and did one thing. Just one. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't involve messages or ultimatums. It was administrative. Something I'd been handling quietly for years because it made things easier for everyone else. I logged in. I changed the setting. I hit confirm. A receipt landed in my inbox. Time-stamped. Neutral. Then I closed the computer. For a while, nothing happened. I folded laundry. I watched a show I didn't care about. I felt the familiar itch to check my phone, to anticipate fallout and manage it before it arrived. I didn't. 5 hours later, the calls started. Missed call. Another. Then messages stacking up fast enough that my phone warmed in my hand. Confusion first. Then anger. Then the tone people use when they realize something they depend on is gone, and they don't know how to replace it quickly. "What did you do? This is a mistake. You need to fix this." I listened to one voicemail. My mom's voice was tight, sharp around the edges. "This is Christmas," she said, as if the word itself should reverse a process. "You're being unreasonable." I didn't call back. When I did respond, it was brief. "I won't support situations where my child is treated like an outsider." My sister tried next. She framed it as humor, as tradition, as something I was taking too seriously. "They're kids," she said. "You're reading into it." "I watched my kid learn where she ranks," I replied. "That's not something I negotiate." There was shouting in the background of one call I didn't answer. Later, someone texted that they were scrambling. That word stuck with me. Not hurt or sorry. Scrambling. By morning, the story had already started to shift. The comment was taken the wrong way. The gifts were misunderstood. I was overreacting. No one mentioned the word guest again. My daughter woke up early and padded into the kitchen in her socks. She asked if Santa would come to our house next year. "He already does," I said. "He just looks different." She smiled, satisfied, and went to draw at the table. She drew a tree with uneven branches and a person standing next to it, holding a box. She didn't ask who it was for. The calls slowed after that. A few last messages tried to reopen the conversation, to separate what happened from what followed. I didn't engage in that framing. I didn't argue intent. I didn't ask for apologies that would arrive thin and late. Some traditions don't survive being named. Some only work as long as no one leaves the room. We made our own plans. Smaller, quieter, We bought a single stocking and hung it low enough for her to reach. We filled it together. There was no victory speech. No moment where everyone agreed I'd done the right thing. There was just a steady sense, as days passed, that I'd chosen correctly. Not because anyone learned a lesson, but because my child learned she didn't have to earn belonging by being smaller. Sometimes, the most important thing you can do is leave before the laughter teaches the wrong rule.